What's up, everyone? Renfail here. Welcome back. This morning, we are continuing the conversation we had from the video we did the other day on how many hours a day should I stream. I've had quite a bit of questions asked from people in the live streams regarding to doing this for a living. I am not a big streamer. I am a small fish, but I do make a full-time income off of this, and I have been doing this for coming up on we'll be at the 3 year anniversary in February. So, we're still just over 2.5 years. We still have, a few months ahead of us to get to that mark. But I have been full-time since February of 2022. So I do have some insights that I can provide. And today's title, I believe, is going to be Toiling in Obscurity, because I want to talk about this stuff right here. So I'm over on Twitch this morning, which is not my main platform. Twitch is something I started doing last October. We're actually going to be having our 1 year Twitch anniversary. Not the anniversary of the creation of the account, but the anniversary of when I started streaming on a daily basis on Twitch, which is October. I think it even says here. I'd have to go hover over it. Let me check. 25th. It looks like I did a test stream on October 17th, which is around when they announced that they were going to be allowing multi-streaming. And then from there, I think it looks like the 25th was when I started regular streaming. And apart from a few days in June when I was on that trip up to help my brother move in the month of June, we still streamed during the month of June, but it was I think I only did 15 streams that month, which was half as many as I normally do because we were busy and had a lot of stuff going on. Anyway, Toiling in Obscurity. This goes back to something we talked about in that other video on how many hours a day you should stream. I'm going to shrink my head down here so that we can see this graph a little bit better. So in that video, I had mentioned that the hardest part of streaming is the toiling in obscurity, the streaming day in, day out, your 3 to 4 hours, whatever's your minimum, and doing it to no viewers. Now, I'm a little biased here because I have been making a full-time living on YouTube long before I started actually doing the multi-streaming on Twitch. So even though my numbers were very low on Twitch for this period here, it's not reflective of my overall growth as a brand because YouTube was still growing at a much different pace and making a full-time income from YouTube. There was a period on YouTube that looked a lot like this. My very first Baldur's Gate 3 early access video, which I believe is posted the day it went live. I think I had 87 viewers on my channel, 87 followers, sorry, on my YouTube channel. And now we have, I think as of this recording, we're over 38,000. So I've grown quite a bit in the past few years. But what I want to focus on here is this right here. If I can figure out how to make this look weird, how is this going to work? We're going to use this hand over here and this hand over here, something like this. It's backwards. This period over here, all the way up to the ramp up that you see on that over there, that ramp up, which is basically August of this year. This dead zone here is the hardest part for most people because you're streaming to next to no viewers. If we look at my average viewer in this period, it was less than 5. It's like average, like especially in the early days, average of 1.7. Here's some 4s, but honestly, there's a whole bunch of like 2s and 3s in here and less than 1s, and just a lot of slow stuff. May, we had a little bit of a spike because that was when I started my second playthrough of Starfield. And Starfield is a pretty good game for me. And then we had some dead stuff in June because I was busy with moving my brother, and then we get back at the beginning of July, and that's when I started doing 2 streams a day instead of just 1. And when I started streaming more than 3 hours a day, the ramp up you see here is a direct result of me starting to stream 6 to 8 hours a day. So as a result, the numbers are higher because we're doing more streams and there's more people watching. Also, the ramp up is because we started doing some other stuff, and there were some games that hit it off very well on Twitch. And I've in this area, I've gotten rated like 6 or 8 times. I've hit in the Kingmaker slots. I I think 6 times now. Like four. I think it's 4 times with No Man's Sky and twice with Starfield, depending on the time of day. The Kingmaker slot on Twitch, there's 3 Kingmaker slots. It's the first 3 slots on Twitch. Um, so it's if you get in those slots, that means when people come to watch a category, you're being promoted in that category as being one of the top threes, and that results in just more traffic overall. But the hard part is this, because this represents nearly a whole year of streaming to an average of say 3 viewers per stream until we got to the point where we started ramping up and starting to see we got the I think 2 weeks ago we dinged that we had completed the achievement for 10 average viewers, and we're closing in on the 15 average viewers as of now. I anticipate that by the end of October, possibly by the end of the month, depending on how New World Eternum goes, um, and then we've also got Dragon Age Veilguard next month. Um, between those 2 games, that should cross me it should cross me over the threshold of an average of 15 concurrent viewers per stream over a 30-day concurrent period, which is the third tier on Twitch before you march to the partner status, which is 75 concurrent viewers in a 30-day period, which we're a long way from that. But the obscurity thing here is what I really want to talk about, because this is a struggle for a lot of people, because my benefit here was that I was I had money coming in from YouTube, and so even though these numbers might have been low with only say 3 to 4 people watching the streams on YouTube, we were getting far more viewers because I have more years invested in YouTube, so I have a much larger audience over there. As an example, as of this recording, I think we're closing in on 1,700 followers on the Twitch channel, and we have 38,000 plus on YouTube. That's a big difference, and that number directly influences how many people are tuning into your live streams, because you have followers, and a percentage of those followers will always watch the stuff you do. Um, Again, this is by no means everyone's road to success. I wanted to point it out for the purposes of continuing up on the conversation that we were having the other day. Because for a lot of people, there is the mental challenge that comes with streaming into the void, essentially. And I talked about how you have to get really good at just talking to yourself. Essentially, what you need to be doing is just narrating whatever you're doing, even if you don't have any viewers, because eventually you will start to accumulate viewers over time, as long as you're entertaining and you're doing all the other things that you need to be doing, like sharing your stuff out on TikTok and X and YouTube Shorts and everything else. Like, you need to be doing the work, putting in the time to get the growth. But there will come a point, whether it's on YouTube or on Twitch, where you will eventually break through that dead zone. It might be a year, it might be 2 years. You never know. I think somebody had talked about there's this kid. I don't watch him, but I've seen clips of him. I think his name is Jinxies or something. He does a lot of like shooter games, I think. Um, there was a clip going around about a year ago that talked about how he streamed for a whole year and had only like an average of 1 viewer for that entire first year, and I think it was his dad who was watching his streams, and yet he just kept on going and eventually broke through. And that's no different here. You're streaming to build up your accumulated hours. You're streaming to build up your audience. You're streaming to show the algorithm that you're reliable, you're dependent, you're playing every single day. Um, there's a lot of other stuff that goes into this, which I'm not going to get into right now, because we do a lot of analytics and stuff for the members of our YouTube channel. And there are lots of other bigger creators who have done far more um, articulate videos on Twitch growth. I'm not an expert on Twitch by any means. But I did want to kind of, talk about this a little bit this morning, because when I saw the graph, I was like, this is the perfect opportunity for me to talk about that whole, you know, streaming into the void, laboring away in obscurity, because it is going to happen. It's no different than when you go write a book, or you write an album, write a song, paint a picture. You're doing those things in obscurity, and you are theoretically planning to put those things out in the public eye at some point. But the creation phase, the actual grind part of that, is often done with nobody watching. And that's the same thing here. You may be wanting people to watch, but you might not be getting any people to watch. And at some point, you will eventually get to the point where you have success and you see a ramp up. I'm genuinely curious to see where Twitch goes by the end of the year. We have a soft goal of 5,000 followers by the end of the year. I feel like that's probably unrealistic, but we could blow up over the next few months and get a ton of followers. I have no idea. Um, but we've hit all of our other goals for the year on all the other platforms. So that would be a nice soft goal to hit, would be to get to the 5,000 followers over on Twitch by the end of the year. But um, we're seeing good growth. Some of this is dependent on the games that we play. Certain games don't get any viewers. I'm not too stressed about that because, again, Twitch is not my main source of income. So this is not necessarily indicative of what I'm seeing over on YouTube as far as the growth goes. But there are definitely some days in here when we have lower numbers because we're streaming things that nobody wants to watch. And I am still, again, very small fish. So even though prior to Shattered Space, as an example, there weren't that many people streaming Starfield on a regular basis, and I was doing a prep playthrough to get up to Shattered Space. And so I was able to get into the Kingmaker slot a couple of times because I was one of the few people who were on Twitch regularly streaming in my time slot. As soon as Shattered Space hit, we now saw all of a sudden there were people who were streaming who were getting 500, 600 viewers, and that bumps me way off because I might get the current place that I'm at right now when I'm streaming Starfield. I'll have between say 25 and 30 viewers just on Twitch. We might drop down to 20. Occasionally we'll bump up as high as like 40 to 50. But I don't get 500, 600 people watching me play anything on Twitch. And that's because I'm just not that big yet on Twitch. And growth takes time. And while you get to that point, you have to be mentally prepared and have the mental fortitude to withstand the luldrums which happen here when you're streaming to next to no audience and maybe no one's talking in chat and you're going, is this really worth it? And I would say that if you are considering that, if you are thinking that, the end result is yes, it is worth it, but you have to be willing to grit your teeth, tune it out, and just keep going no matter what. So, food for thought. Daily streams, 9 a.m. on YouTube and Twitch. We are continuing to grow in all the places, and I can't wait to get to our 1 year anniversary on Twitch. I'll probably do it on the 25th since that was like the first day that I officially started streaming regularly. Because the 17th was like a test, um, right after they did the announcement, and I was setting up my stuff, and then we actually started it. And we will have a 1 year anniversary celebration, and then continue to march to the end of the year and see where we get by the end of 2024. Oh, it's not even 5 a.m., guys. I need more coffee. Thanks so much. Love to see you in the next stream. If you want more tidbits like this, I do a lot of analytics reports and income reports on YouTube for the channel members, so check it out. Until next time, stay safe, happy gaming. Don't forget the Discord, all the socials, the Patreon. See you next time.